In 2013, the world was shocked by the discovery of 14 dead Bornean elephants in Gunung Rara Forest Reserve, Sabah. Who can forget this heartbreaking photo of an elephant calf nudging its dead mother? His mother and 13 members of their herd had died from poisoning, an act of revenge for the crop damage that they caused. The culprit was never caught. However, there was a silver lining in this gloomy situation. In that same year, the Sabah government declared Borneo elephants as a totally protected species under Sabah's Wildlife Conservation Enactment 1997. But the elephant in the room remains. Are we doing enough to protect elephants in Sabah?
Elephants are regarded as pests in oil palm plantations because of the damages they cause to crops and property. For example, before we engaged with Sabah Softwoods Berhad, the company reported damages amounting to 4 million ringgit in a span of just 9 years. So this happens because as more and more elephant habitat is lost to agricultural conversion, timber concessions, and housing development schemes, elephants' habitat will be constrained to smaller areas, which are often found adjacent to forests. So this might increase the incidences of human-elephant conflict. So this happens because elephants are accustomed to traditional routes, so this puts them in close contact with humans, and this is especially so in plantations which are developed adjacent to forest areas.
As part of its efforts to reduce human-elephant conflict, in 2016, WWF-Malaysia helped establish a technical working group that comprises state agencies and also oil palm companies. One of these companies is Sabah Softwoods Berhad.
Welcome to Pumas.
Hi, nice to finally meet you.
Hi, how are you? Fine, come. Sabah Softwoods Berhad. Now it's called Sabah Softwoods Berhad. It's established in 1974. Our main core business since 1974 is tree plantations, mainly fast-growing species. Then in 1985, we have started planting oil palm in a small scale.
Actually, when we started opening up the plantation of Sabah Softwood in 74, the elephant has been there. It was not the elephant just came into our area. Actually, the Brumas sector and also the portion of the Kalabakan sector was part and parcel of the migration of the elephants, seasonal migration in search of food from one forest reserve to another forest reserve.
Those trees planted along the roadsides, seems to be debugged by the elephants. They peel off the barks, and leave it open. But I noticed also that these damages only occurs along the roadsides only. But if you walk further inside into the plantation, you can hardly see damages. We are planting about 1,111 trees per hectare. You can see only probably less than 20 trees scattered been damaged.
Immediately when we convert area from tree plantation into oil palm, every now and then when we plant the seedling on the blocks, the following night the elephant comes in and destroy most of the seedling that we planted. So the first effort that we did was that we constructed a very huge ditch and very deep one.
Use of burning tires, for the smell, and secondly we also use cannon blast. It seems working, but later on we noticed that it becomes used to it, and then later on we also start doing trenching. Of course, the last option before short-term measure is we translocate some few herds of elephants, meaning that That time 3 elephants we translocated, and it was costly. So and then we noticed that after 2 or 3 years later, to my experience since I've been here for quite some time, noticed that it seems like the same elephants are coming back.
It has once again proven that this mitigation plan does not work. The elephant are very smart animals.
WWF-Malaysia started engaging Sabah Softwoods in 2012 when we promoted the establishment of wildlife corridor, and later on we promoted the realigning of electric fencing and Brumas Plantation. The purpose of establishing the wildlife corridor within Brumas Plantation was basically to connect the isolated Ulu Kalumpang Forest Reserve to the bigger Ulu Sagama Forest Reserve. So this wildlife corridor actually promotes the free movement of wildlife through and beyond the plantation.
So we also approached back to Sabah Wildlife Department, okay, and then they gave us some technical suggestion. They suggest that to liaise with WWF, because they have a proper thorough studies on it. Okay, one thing of video but they propose as a long-term options, and I also showed to them our fencing area, and it's good that they notice it and right away they advise us to do some realignment.
Human-elephant conflict is caused by improper land use planning and the placement of electric fences, which is not strategic. This causes bottlenecks and it hampers the movement of elephants. This causes the elephants to be confined to small areas and increases contact with humans, which in turn increases the chances of human-elephant conflict.
From our experience and observation, elephants usually damage oil palms that are below 7 years of age. So we recommended that Sabah Softwoods only fence up oil palms that are less than 7 years old, and this would allow elephants to move freely amongst the matured plants.
WWF-Malaysia engages with plantations through the development of joint mitigation options by realigning electric fences with neighboring plantations, and also the setting aside of land for elephants and also other wildlife species. The establishment of these wildlife corridors facilitates the movement of elephants and improves habitat connectivity by connecting fragmented forests. This in turn reduces human-elephant conflict and reduces the risk of safety to people working in plantations.
The concern to sustain or manage the wildlife, particularly in our state, is the big responsibility and concern of all of us. We would like to see a permanent answer to this issue of elephant intruding into plantation.
Besides advocating for human-elephant conflict mitigation, such as wildlife corridors and strategic electric fencing, WWF Malaysia also studies elephant movement by collaring several herds. This helps them to understand the elephants' space requirements. This information is later shared with stakeholders for better land use planning in Sabah.
To this, I must acknowledge that WWF has played this role to assist us and continue to assist us, to support us in terms of providing knowledge on managing this wildlife corridor, at the same time managing the elephants. And similarly also to the wildlife department. I think they have been they have done a good job in assisting us to reduce or mitigate some of these issues. It is high time, particularly the big companies, set up some kind of small fund to us. If we can agree whereby we can set about 1 ringgit for every CP or tonnage to strengthen the effort to manage the elephant and these orangutans. This is a responsibility to the industry for the good of the people of the next generation.
My advice to all other plantations that are facing human-elephant conflict to work together to develop mitigation options You don't have to do this alone. Furthermore, there's no one-size-fits-all solution. So work with each other, engage authorities and experts, and come up with solution. Together, everything is possible.